Mercy Association, a house dedicated to the observance of God. I am your brother, Brother Minister Omari Jahi Aton, along with our founder, Brother Minister Rahim Kased Aton, and our First Lady, Sister Makita Aisha Aton. We welcome you to the Temple of Mercy Association. We're located here at 2057 West on 68th Place in Chicago, Illinois. And on this date, I believe the day is March the 19th.
That's right.
2017, on the third Sunday of the month. You know, we're moving into that holiday. I'll just leave it at that. That people seem to look so much forward to. But, excuse me, I want to open up with our opening first. So, in the name of the everlasting Father, he that causes all that exists to exist, he that is self-existent, is he who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, and is he who has made time the seed of the universe. He's known among the ancient Kemites or the Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Aton. He's known among the Hebrews as Ansaf, Yahweh, and Elohim. He's known among the Christians as Lord God and Jehovah, and he's known among the Muslim or the Islamic world as Allah, the one God. I bear witness that all of these names refer to the same one, Almighty God. And it's to him whom I give reverence, and it's to him whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we are the descendants of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, and that we are the 13th tribe born right here in North America. And I further proclaim that we are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage, and the blood of all the nations of the earth flow through our veins. I greet you, my brothers and sisters, in the ancient but yet holy words of peace, which are Hotep, Shalom,
Shalom Alaikum,
Assalamu Alaikum,
Walaikum Salam, sir.
Habaragani, Alafia, and Ashe.
Ashe.
Once again, welcome to the Temple of Mercy Association. You know, we pride ourselves on not just being a Bible-thumping, Quran-spewing movement, but we do a little bit more than just teach Bible and Quran and Kemetic holy books. We believe in implementing what we teach in our lives and teaching it in a way where you can use it in your everyday life in order to make adjustments and changes in your life so that you can be a better human being, whether male or female, but to be more specific, a better human being and child of your Creator. So today we're going to touch on, I keep forgetting to hit my clock there. We're going to touch on a very deep subject today. You know, I want everyone, I know back in the day when I was growing up, they used to have this program on TV called Romper Room. I know some of y'all don't know nothing about that. Yeah, I know y'all don't know. Y'all don't know about Romper Room. But in Romper Room, you know, it was for little kids, basically. You know, and they would tell you to make sure that you put your thinking caps on and tie them on tight. You know, because we're really going to be going into a deep subject today. Now, the Creator has placed on my heart to teach on this subject because I believe it's time for us to understand the concept of what time is all about. You know, you heard in our opening that we said the time is the seed of the universe. You know, and we've been saying this opening now for about over 25 years now. And no one has ever asked us what we meant about time being the seed of the universe. You know, but when you get into time, you know, time, and I got some notes here because if I didn't put some notes down, my brain would be all over the place because, believe it, time is so infinite and you can go in so many different directions and ways when you're teaching on time that I had to kind of write it down to limit myself from floating all off into space. So you all excuse me if I read a little bit, but I want to make sure that I stay on point today with what the lesson, what the Creator has given me. Look, it says time is the key to unlock the powers of the universe. I'm going to say that again. Time. See, we take time, we just take it for granted that you just going to have time. Oh, I got time. Oh, I got time to do that. Do you really? But time is the key to unlock the powers of the universe. Everything that has its source, it has its source from the oneness. The key to that oneness is time. So, brothers and sisters, according to Webster's dictionary, time says is a non-spatial continuum. Now those are big words. We heard space in there, didn't we? So I picked that one up. It said non-spatial. That means time don't have space. It doesn't hold space. It's not like matter or this basket, you know, where it occupies space. Time doesn't occupy space, and it says that it's a continuum, which means it's a continuous succession. To give you an example of what continuous succession is: spring, summer, winter, fall. Spring, summer, winter, fall. Spring, y'all got it? It's continuous. And it's a time period. Summer is time, the spring is a time, winter is a time, and the fall is a time. And it's continuous. I can give you another one. Morning, afternoon, evening. Morning, afternoon, evening. It continues. All right? So now look at this. It goes on to say that it's a continuous succession, continuum, in which events occur in a particular irreversible succession. Just like I was talking about. You're not going to see summer come and then winter. Well, we almost got we almost got to looking at it, but that's something else. That's not. Everything is still in order. We just out of order, and that's why I want to talk about time today, because we way out of order. But look, it says it's in an irreversible succession from the past through the present to the future. And that's another thing. That's a continuum. Past, present, future. It's going to continue to keep rotating, circulating in that continuous fashion. But in order to truly be able to understand or master time, you must first understand or master cycles. Cycles, brothers and sisters, we have no idea that cycles dictate and control and even manipulate our lives in the way that it really does. And we are not very familiar with cycles. But look, cycles are a part of time. By definition, a cycle is an interval, which is a space of time during which a characteristic of a regularly repeated events or sequence of events occur. For example, a cycle of space we call a year has identifiers of events that occur in a constant and regular sequence every 360 days. So see, the circle or the cycle that we call a year, it operates under a 360-day cycle, meaning that day one is the beginning of the cycle and 360 would be the end of the cycle, and one starts over. Y'all follow me? All right. So now, where does 365 come in? let's keep it real now. This is some real talk now. I want y'all to listen to me. We've been under a 365-day cycle, which is against math, science, and universal law. Totally against it. Circles are 360s. You never heard in basketball somebody going up to the hoop and doing a 365. It's a 360. So where does this 365 come from? And why do we operate under a 365? Well, you have to understand something, brothers and sisters. The people that created and made up this system that we live under, and when I'm saying system, I'm speaking of educational system, judicial system, political system, the whole gambit. This whole system was created in order that they stay what is considered on top, and we be kept unaware, uneducated, and on the bottom. So, now, if we are a people that are, what would I call it? We are one with the universe. We came, our creation was based on truth and oneness with God and the universe and nature. I'm speaking of black people now. I can't speak of any other race because there's no other race that I know of that fits what I'm talking about right now. Now, that's not racism. That's scientific fact. There's no other race that was created in nature. So that means the thing that feeds us is truth and being one with nature and universal thought. So now, if you now live in a system that is against nature, that instead of the mathematical universal law of 360, they'll give us 365, then something I said on every year should have been divided to the year. Well, I'll show you. I did the math. And you're going to be surprised when I came up with it. Now, first of all, what I did, for those that I'm not a math wizard, so it took me about 2 hours to figure this out. I was scratching my head, but I figured it out. I took 365 and I multiplied it by the year that we're presently in, which is 2017. Okay? When I did that, I came up with 736,205 days. That's how many days that that we've had for these 2017 years. Again, that's 736,205 days. Now, what I did was I went back and I took that 2017, because that's the year we're dealing with, and I multiplied it by 5. Why 5?
5 days.
It's the extra 5 days that I'm talking about, right? Because I want to figure out what these 5 days add up to. So when I multiplied 2017 by 5, it came up to 10,085 days. So what did I do? I took that and I divided 360, which is what a full circle really is. I divided that into 1,085 and came up with 28 years. That's how many years we're ahead. Now you all go and do the math. Like I said, I'm not a math wizard. Y'all go ahead and double check me and go back and work on it yourselves. But if you subtract 28 years from 2017, we are really in the year, wait for it, 1989. That's very scary. And I haven't even gotten to the point to where your birthday ain't your birthday. Because believe it or not, like my birthday is March the 9th, right? Now, if 360 is supposed to be, every month's supposed to have 30 days in it, then when every time the year goes around, your birthday falls on a different day, right? But now, if there's 5 days added to the year, that means that when you were born, it wasn't the year that you was born in. It was actually ahead of time, and it wasn't the day of the week that you thought you was born on, and it wasn't the date that you thought you was born on, because everything is ahead of time. See, so when you are off, see, and you got to understand something. This whole thing was generated in order to keep us from gaining the power that God gave to us in the beginning of time. See, when Jesus came, he came to show us our human potential. See, a lot of people want to preach and make Jesus be like a God figure. He never sinned and he didn't do anything wrong. And that's a lie. I can go back and show you some stuff Jesus did wrong. He killed the guy. You know, that they don't talk about too much. You know, but, not a guy, I'm sorry, a fig tree. He killed a fig tree. That was somebody else that killed the guy. Just want to get my facts straight. But my point is that we're so out of time and we're so off that we wonder why we ain't got no juice. We seem like everybody on the planet, all other ethnic groups, have some kind of juice that they, whether it be they got a homeland that they can go to, you know, or something, you know, that gives them something to be fortified by. And here we are. We ain't got a pot to piss in or, urinate in, or a window to throw it out of. And we wonder, like, what did God just forgot about us? Did he just leave us? No, he didn't leave us hanging. All the information is right here. All we got to do is get back in line with time. That's all we have to do. And everything will correct itself. But look, every cycle has 3 stages in it. Every cycle, 3 stages. The first stage of a cycle is a trial. The second, is the duality. I'm going to explain it a little later. And the third is the creative stage. Every cycle. So that means every 360 degrees has these 3 components in it. All right? Now, all cycles have a beginning point as well as have an ending point. We are going to use the year cycle to discover this. Now, I don't know if y'all can see that. It's kind of dark. But that's the actual calendar of 30 days. Now, if you notice that the 30th day ends on Monday. So that means the next month, the first of the month would be on a Tuesday. But it would only be 30 days. And when you go through this whole cycle in 12 months, when you come back to that first month should fall on Sunday, the first day of the year. It's a Sunday. So, we got 12 months, 30 days per month, right? Now, if you take 360 and divide it by 30, that's where you get the 12 months. That's how we know that each month is supposed to have 30 days in it. Now, if you look at this image that I just put up, you'll see that the first astrological sign is Aries. You see the number 1, right? But based on what they tell us, the new year being in January, you would think that it would be Capricorn. So I'm only showing this to prove that I didn't make this up. Astrologists know this. So why do they keep us out of sync with the universe? Because that's what astrology is dealing with the stars. You know that, right? Why do they want us not to be in line or in sync with what is natural? Because see, it don't matter to them if they out of whack, because they was out of whack from the beginning. I'm speaking of the people that rule this world. They could care less about being in sync with this, because they don't get no juice from that. They're not going to get anything, just like their pineal gland is dormant. They make these movies because they have black people on their staff that they go into these elementary schools and even preschools and high schools, and they seek after our brilliant young black men and women, and then they bring them and pay for their education. A good one. Not the kind we get. And then they go work for NASA or MASA. And reveal all of these things that you see in motion pictures, Star Wars and all. These white folks can't see that far. They got one of us sitting there writing these stories. Look, but I don't want to get off. Let me get back on the paper. But this astrological thing is proof positive that what we are teaching is true. That the first month of the year is April, not January. So now, let's move on to the clock, because that's a cycle too. In the clock, and let me just make a mention of this too, because I want to tie it in with something at the end when I get through. You know that these 12 months dealing with the calendar, right? In 360, it comes up to 12 months, right? Now when you're dealing with a clock, you're dealing with 12 hours. I want you all to keep that number 12 in the back of your mind as we move forward, because it has a specific meaning. Because Jesus had 12 disciples, and that's not a coincidence. 12 is a very important number. But they don't teach us about numbers. Numerology, they would never teach that in school, which they need to. They stopped teaching arithmetic. And y'all didn't know it was a difference, huh? They teach math now. Big difference. But look, so the clock looks so when we look at the clock, as an example, the complete cycle or the circle of the clock is represented by what is called 24 hours. That's the whole circle for a day. 24 hours. This 24-hour cycle is represented by 2 complete 12-hour rotations. And as you can see on the screen here, on the left you see 12 hours a day. You have 12 hours of night. Man, I know I'm not going to finish all of this. God, look, I'm going to teach class Wednesday. Y'all come on Wednesday, 2057 West 68th Place. West 68th Place. You all come, and we might do a Facebook Live. I don't know. But if not, you just going to miss out. But we're going to continue this on this Wednesday. Look. According to what we are taught, the day begins at 12 o'clock midnight. That is incorrect. Ain't y'all tired of me saying that's... ain't y'all tired of me saying that's a lie? They lie. That is not the truth. The day starts when the sun comes up.
Daybreak.
That's when the day starts, brothers and sisters. We know it. You don't get up at midnight. Well, unless you work in the graveyard shift. But if work didn't call for you to come in, you be asleep. Or you need to be asleep. Some folks, they don't come out to the freaks come out at night. Well, but look, it's sunrise. So now, we got, okay? Now in the ancient Kemetic last month, that the first service to your Creator. That's the first 8 hours, morning. Now, we know we don't service the Creator in the morning. We only think about Him on Sunday. And they said the second 8 hours is for your daily occupation or your job. Your own soul searching. Are you shortchanging the Creator? Are you giving Him 8 hours a day? Now understand this. I see it says the last 8 hours for recreation or sleep, saying either go have your little fun or you sleep. Either or, but you don't say, well, I did 8 hours of recreation, so now I got to cut in on you, God, and give me at least 4 hours of sleep. You don't mind, do you? And then we wonder why we are so disconnected, why we ain't got no juice. Here's, brothers and sisters, the problem is we don't believe or we don't want it. You know, it's almost like we all should have been born in Missouri, the show me state. Because if you can't show me that it works, then I don't believe it. It's called faith and belief. If you don't have faith that what you are hearing is the truth and applying or participating in this vicious cycle, you know, you get born, you get a messed up education, maybe you go to jail, maybe you go to the hospital, maybe you go and get married, raise some children, get old, get sick, and die. But look, if this is true, and I know it is, brothers, and understand this, I'm not even following all of this. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But I do understand it to the point to whereas I can teach it to our children who haven't got set. See, I'm 56 years old. Man. I've been doing this crap for a long time. And it's kind of hard, not impossible, but it's hard to, what they call it, teach an old dog new tricks. But this is for our children. They need to be raised like this. We need to create an educational system because I hear Trump is getting rid of everything. So that means if he's eliminating funding for schools, that means schools are about to close real soon and somebody's going to have to do something real fast other than Chance the Rapper. The rest of you rappers and so-called entertainers, what's all you Chicago folks, Carmen, Kanye, you know, y'all need to put up or shut up. And if you don't put up, we need to stop buying y'all records.
Thank you.
Oh, that's true.
I'm going to get Chance record tomorrow. Even though I don't like rap music that much, but I'm going to buy Israel. Because it's called support. But look, so if our daily use of time is not in line with this natural and universal concept, then we are offline once again with nature. The universality of things and our Creator. We are totally offline. So, as you can see, this entire system of calculating time, as we have been taught by the Master, has taken us offline and out of sync with nature and the universe. This is why the understanding and the mystery of cycles is so vital. You have to understand this teaching if you want to do something about changing your life for the better. Now, in review, real quick, so we can make sure we're on point here. We got about 30 more minutes, and so I think I might finish a little bit of this, but I want to get as much out as I can. So in review, look at this. A cycle is 360 degrees, not 365. In time, where we can identify reoccurring sequences of events. See, if you understand cycles, then you understand that there's nothing new under the sun. That means every year you experience the same thing over and over again. You don't know it because you don't clock it. You don't watch it. You don't pay attention to it. There's a certain time of the year where you become depressed. There's a certain time of the year that you become very happy and you seem to have a whole lot of energy. You know, there's a certain time of the year that you get adventurous. But because we don't monitor and watch ourselves and clock ourselves, the minister, I think he calls it self-analysis, self-examination, and self-correction. You know, you have to examine yourself. We're too busy examining our neighbor. Look at that nigga. What's wrong with his pants? Them pants outdated. What his pants got to do with his salvation? We just so crazy. We be on the wrong things, thinking about the wrong thing. Look, worry about you. That's all you need to worry about. And if you work on you enough, believe it or not, it's going to rub off on somebody else. Because somebody else going to look at you and be like, oh man, so-and-so looking younger. So-and-so, oh man, what you doing? And they're going to ask you. And then you tell them about their cycles. So look, okay, so now we know 360, that's the cycle. And that there's 3 stages in every cycle. Trial, duality, and creative. Those are the 3 3 stages of every cycle. Then we also know that a complete circle or cycle on a clock is represented by what is called 24 hours. And that 24-hour cycle is represented by the 2 complete 12-hour rotations. We got that, dealing with a clock. And we also know that the ancient Kemites of the Egyptian mystery system, they taught us that that there are 3 equal parts of 8 in each 24 hours that we need to be aware of, and that we need to operate and schedule our life based on these 3 8-hour segments. One, the first 8 hours being service to our Creator. Now, I want to step back for a minute. What time does the sun rise in Chicago?
Around 7,
7?
5.
Yeah, I think it's around 5. Between 5 and 6. Based on the seasons. You know. And believe it or not, if we were in link and back... What? Where?
It's down in the bottom.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I thought I said something wrong. But if we were in link and in sync with the universe and nature, that we wouldn't have to worry about leaping, what they call spring forward and fall back every year. That spring forward, falling back is only because they don't want to get too far out of time. So we understand this, that the ancient Kemites gave us these cycles. And this understanding that the first 8 hours is service to the Creator, the second 8 hours is for your daily occupation, and the third 8 hours is for recreation or sleep. All right, so we got that part. Now, I want to get into the stages, these 3 stages of the cycles. We're gonna actually talk about it. The first stage, trial. Now, that's 120 days, which breaks down, if you divide 120 by 30, you get 4. 4 months. So that means each trial lasts 4 months. Now, when does trials begin? Was you listening? Was you listening? April 1st. We about to get there, aren't we? Mm-hmm. We almost there. Yeah. We about to get started. So that means starting April 1st, you got 120 days that you finna go through this. Now, let's listen to it. Trial. Trial by definition means the act or process of testing. You know we don't like tests, we hate tests. Trying or putting to proof. Every cycle starts with the trial or testing stage, which consists of 3 parts. If you notice on the graph I got up here, you see one part of the trial is knowledge. Mm-hmm. The other part of the trial is wisdom. The other part of the trial is understanding. Those are the 3 components or the 3 parts of your trial cycle. Now, look at this. Now, remember, and each one lasts for 40 days. So the whole thing is 120, but you got 40 days starting April 1st to get as much knowledge as you can get. And then the next 40 days is when you are supposed to be not learning new knowledge, but applying the knowledge you just received the previous 40 days. And the last 40 days is where you begin to have, what we call it, you would be able to have understanding of what it is. No, now. So that's the whole trial. To gain knowledge, apply the knowledge, understand the knowledge. Now, what do I mean by understanding the knowledge? But I can read a book, and in the book it can tell me how to put my fingers on the baseball to be able to throw a curve. Mm-hmm. And I can get the ball and put my fingers across the threads, and, like they say, and do the motion and everything. But until I throw that ball and see it curve, I have not used the second part, which is called wisdom, which is application. You have to actually do it. You can't just read it. Because see, if you just read it and say, I got it, then you ain't got it. You have to actually apply it, and then when you first do it, you might see the thing hit the dirt and roll off into the grass or something. Mm-hmm. So you might have to do it a couple of times, 50 times, 100 times. And on that 100 times, that sucker will curve. And you be like, aha! I got it. And then you keep doing it. Now you got it. Now what is that? Understanding. I understand now what? How to throw a curve. As before, I just knew how. Now I have understanding. So that's that. The first stage of the cycle dealing with trial, and it says, and it kind of goes into knowledge and kind of breaking down knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. But I'm gonna skip that because of time, and I'm gonna go into the second stage, which is duality. Now, this is pretty interesting because in this stage, again, just like the first one, it's 120 days. Now, this stage starts, where is it? We know the first one starts April 1st. Where is it? Oh, it starts August. August the 1st. August the 1st is the first day of this stage of 120 days. Now we know August, and just like the first one, you're dealing with 4 months. There's August, September, October, and November. Those 4 months is where we go through this. The inner war between good and evil inside of you. See, that's that duality. See, the good and the evil fighting. So every year, around these months, you and I experience certain emotional wars. That nigga was looking at me crazy. I don't like how he was looking at me. Did she say something to me? See, we get into this mode around this time and people be like, hey, you got a stank attitude? But it's this war between good and evil that's taking place inside of each and every one of us. Now, again, this is going to last for 120 days. Now, mind you, that the knowledge that you learned for 40 days in the first 120 days, I hope it was some good knowledge. You know, unless you just went off and figured out, how can I break into this safe? What's the best way to rob a nigga? You see what I'm saying? I mean, all that's knowledge, but is it going to be knowledge that's going to help you to win this war in the second stage when this internal battle takes place? And if it's not going to help you, then all that knowledge that you learned and everything was for naught, because you finna get taken out by your own evilness. Listen to what it says. Most of us are not aware that the potential of good and evil are within us all. The duality stage of the cycle is where we discover every year if we have learned the lesson of the previous year. If you have, then we would have made application, that means applying what you know, to what we've learned while under the trial or the testing stage. See, there we go, of the cycle. And we would have the tools to use to break the cycle and evolve to the higher level of trial and duality and creative. Because see, it's not like all I got to do is go through this one time and I break the cycle and I'm free. No. There are actually 7 levels. Y'all, did you see what's the movie with Bruce Lee? The Game of Death, was where he had to go on all these different levels and fight different people, and then once he won that battle, he had to go to the next one, and as he kept going up, he was getting more out. But the object was to make it to the top and be the victor. And we're going to go into those different levels. I'm not going to have time to go into all of them, but I might be able to go into them for briefly just to read them, and then we'll pick up on it again Wednesday. But look, that's the duality. And it says, duality, like the trial stage, has 4 months of 120 days connected to it. We have that time period to win or lose the war. The winner or loser of this war plays a very important role in the last and final stage, which is creative. Now, this stage starts December 1st. It's cold, ain't it? It'd be cold. Why would they call the creative stage and make it be in the coldest months of the year. Look at it. December, January, February, and March. That's where you get your cold. I mean, well, at least that's when you're supposed to get it. You know. So, but now listen to this. Look. The creative stage of the cycle is where you are rewarded or punished for your victory or defeat. I'm going to read that again. The creative stage of the cycle is where you are rewarded or punished for your victory or your defeat. Most of us will never be aware of how every year during these 4 months we feast and celebrate 4 major holidays, or holidays we call them. Eating, drinking, drugging, smoking ourselves into a slow and painful death. This is our punishment for not learning the lessons to be learned in the first 4 months and losing the 4-month war. You get to go ahead and be slothful. It's slothful, that's what they call it. And just eat yourself to death. Those that win the war have the knowledge and the tools to not only win the 4-month war, but also gain the understanding that during the last 4 months is also a war against improper food consumption. During these these man-made holidays. So, when you fight against these things during this time, we break the cycle of that year and pass on to the next level of trial, duality, and creative on a totally different level. The first level, I got 10 minutes. The first level always deals with carnality. Carnality. Now we're dealing with the chakra, y'all. I know some of y'all know about the chakra, some of y'all may not know about the chakra. But the first level on the chakra is not coincident that the line goes straight through your genitals. Which is carnality, which is the first level or energy center of the human body. Now, understand this. The energy center of the body is just that. It's an energy that's inside of your body. And if you can picture it, it's like, I don't know if you all ever seen these monster movies or sci-fi movies or whatever, where some guy can open up his hand and a ball of fire comes up in their hand. Now, if you can imagine that ball of fire inside your body, and there's 7 of them, and they all emit different energies. The first one, on the first level, the energy is sexual, and it's carnal. And if you can see on the chart there, the color is red. So when you have a lot of people that love red, wear red all the time, drive red cars, won't even paint their room red, that's kind of deep there, boy. If you in a red room, I'm sorry. That's really bad there, boy. But
they turn it red with the red light bulb.
Yeah, well, maybe that's right. Yeah, having a red light bulb, making it red, but making it, I can live with that. I can live with that better than the red walls. I go crazy. But look, it's okay. The color is red. The organ of the body is the sex organs. There's a musical note connected to it, which is the musical note C. In music, C. And a lot of us don't know anything about the 7 churches, but in the Holy Bible, in the book of Revelations, there are 7 churches I believe it's in Revelations 2. Just read the chapter, Revelations 2nd chapter, and you'll read about these churches. And it describes what these churches are and the characteristics of these churches and what their essence is, and you will see the connection to these energy centers. So now look, where am I at? Oh, these are the 7 levels, and all to, these are the 7 levels and all to be one. That means these are the 7 levels that you are looking at now. These are the levels that you are striving to break and overcome and climb. But we don't seem to have the discipline to master the cycle of 7 years straight. So you got to be on it for 7 years straight in order to beat this thing. Because if you mess up 1 year and say, oh, I'm going to take a break, oh, I'm tired, I don't feel like fighting this year, guess what? You go back.
Mm-hmm.
She saw it again?
No.
Oh, okay.
Anticipation.
Anticipation. So I know this sounds like a video game or something, but let me ask you this question. If what I have shared with you has been around for billions of years, then where do you think the concept of video games came from? It ain't that what I'm saying came from a game. It's the game came from this. So now look, here we go. The energy centers. We got about a few more minutes. The first one, the first energy center is red, and this chakra involves sexuality, lust, obsession, and chakra governs sexuality. Number 1. All hoochies are on number 1. La hoochies too. Number 1. Thought 2. I had to come up with the new thing. Go pull that this thing, this energy center gives you sexually, your stability, because you can be a big behind and some breasts walk by, and you can't even paint the wall now. You told Grandma, I'll paint your wall today, Grandma. But a big butt and a smile changed all that. So emotionally, you unstable. You say, you can't be a man and a woman of your word. Because when the wind blows, there you go. Now that's physically and emotionally. Now spiritually, it says, spiritually, it governs a sense of security. Spiritually. So the spiritual, remember I told you about that this ain't the real you? That the real you is inside of this. Driving around. Locked in. Can't get out. Looking through the windshield. Saying, help me. Help me. Can't get out. You know? And so spiritually, the security that a person has based upon not being able to be dependent upon and so sexually driven that their sense of security is not even it's not even what would you call it? It's not even something that they take into consideration, because nobody on that level even has a inkling of their spiritual self. Not at all. So now that's just the first level. So that means, give you an example. Now let's say, here we come. We coming into April, right? Let's say this year we all own it. And we go through and we get our good knowledge about knocking off the rough edges and the superfluities of this life off of you. You know, using universal laws and coming to classes like this so you can be taught how to fast and what to eat right, and these kind of knowledge. So we get on it for April, right? And then when August comes and the war comes, you got your tools, you got your weapons, so you beating yourself down. No, get back, Satan. No, hell no, you ain't finna get me. And you get victorious at the end and get rewarded, because see, at the end of the year, a reward could be something like, what they call them? An inheritance. Some old relative dies and leave you $3,000 or $300,000 or something like that. You know, and now that's extreme. But the another version of it is that you all of a sudden get a check in the mail because they overpaid you when you did your taxes the previous year and they took too much money, and so they finally sent you your reverse check, and it was $400. And at the end of the year, boy, you was like, man, I needed that money. That's a reward for the fight. Now, you broke that cycle, right? So are you free? No. You move to the second level, which is orange, right? Second chakra is connected to the color orange. The key issue involving the second chakra is relationships, violence, addictions, puff pass for all you folks out there, addictions, basic emotional needs, and pleasure. And you know, pleasure can come in many different ways. You know, folks that eat themselves to death, that's pleasurable. You know. But the physical side of the second chakra governs reproduction. And, well, you know, because see, on this level, it's supposed to, and remember, in numerology, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because see, that's connected to everything you do dealing with the first one. If it's your first child, that means that first one is dealing with where you're going to do all the learning, you know, because you don't know nothing about it, you know. And so this second level is based on applying what you learned on the first one. So this is why I'm saying relationships, in contrast to what? Being in thoughthood and thoughtdom. You know, but being in a relationship, you know, and then it's talking about here, where it says, oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. Dealing with reproduction. It's about being in relationships, getting married, having a family. But the challenge of the whole thing, because if it's physically dealing with governing reproduction, and then it says mentally it governs creativity and emotionality, and it governs joy. That all of these things are beautiful, and spiritually says it governs enthusiasm. So now we have to understand that all of these things are playing a part in us overcoming the second level. So the second year around, here we go again. What is the things that you're trying to learn knowledge about now? I need to know, have knowledge, or be seeking knowledge dealing with relationships. In the Temple of Mercy Association, we have this, I don't know what you would call it, but it's dealing with courtship and dating. Where when you meet a person, we have certain questions that you should ask a person that you are interested in to find out whether they crazy or not. I'm serious. You need them questions? Because most of the times when people get in relationships, it's not about questions that they've asked or sought out. It's all about physicality. I like you. You like me? Good. Let's get together. You know, it's so physical. Oh man, time is up. Oh God, I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all got to be here Wednesday. Y'all got to be here Wednesday. But look, before we go, I need you all to do something for me. We need y'all help. You know, so we asking that you guys can donate to our ministry. You know, we doing a good work out here in Inglewood. We actually in, what is this, West Inglewood?
Yes.
This is considered West Inglewood. You know, we're doing a good work out here. We're teaching what is right. And so we asking that you go to our PayPal account, if you have a PayPal account. Because if you don't, then, you know, it's unnecessary to even think about it. But if you do, help us out. Go to our PayPal account and donate from your heart. Whatever you can give, it would help us to continue to do this ministry and do what we're doing. And then also you can friend us on Facebook, www.facebook.com /T.O.M.A Nation 2. Again, that's www.facebook.com /T.O.M.A Nation 2. You can friend us on Facebook. Thank you all for coming out, and God bless you. And make sure you get our cheesecakes. We selling cheesecakes as a fundraiser, and we got some nice ones. We got 14 flavors, so make sure you hit me up on my page and get your order in, because we need money in before the end of the month. God bless you. Leave you as I greet you in the ancient way. Yet, holy words of peace. Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu Alaikum, Habardani, Lafia, and Ashe. Peace.